Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla and the new show Overflow episode 49. Warren Buffett is selling its shares in BYD, and Goldman Sachs has raised their price target for Tesla once again. And we have more delays and backtracking from the legacy automakers. And full self-driving continues to impress the Aussies and will no doubt create a lot of demand for Tesla. And Tesla Model Y is once again on track to becoming the best-selling EV in Q3 in Europe. And Tesla is getting ready for their Tesla semi-truck production, and we might have some huge robotaxi expansion coming soon. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
But even though we are seeing BYD making some great EVs, we have been talking about the many cracks we are starting to see in their foundation. But it seems like Warren Buffett sees the same thing as Berkshire has showed all the rest of their BYD shares. So BYD is no longer backed by one of the best investors in history, Warren Buffett. So that is very interesting, but what happened? Well, AJ has some thought about it on X as he wrote. Despite selling over 4 million vehicles annually, BYD is still cash flow negative, as my research shared on X showed, and forced the company to raise a record $5.6 billion in equity capital in March. Historically, reported positive cash flow was achieved via hidden supplier financing. BYD kept increasing supplier payment terms, so did not pay suppliers and avoided cash outflows from 102 days in Q2 2020 to 132 days in Q2 2025. I estimate the capital gap amount to approximately $20 billion, so required amount to reduce the supplier payment term down to industry norms of 70 days from currently over 130 days. My research shows that a significant share of BYD's reporting earnings were driven by government subsidies relating to daily activities, so not tied to achieving emission target as is typical in other countries. Despite its growing size, BYD has become less efficient as increasing R&D and SG&A spend relative to revenue showed. BYD's vehicle sales, after years of rapid growth, have been flatlining in recent months. This development implies it was high time to exit BYD investment. I predicted in April, when BYD traded at 129 Chinese yen, that the key short signal will be weakening Chinese auto sales, since non-Chinese auto sales offer too little offset. BYD is significantly handicapped in major non-Chinese market due to tariffs, in particular Europe and the United States. Most other automakers are too small to offer meaningful non-China growth opportunities. My research shows that BYD China sales likely peaked in December 2024. Since the seasonal first quarter in Q1 decrease was unusually high, and post first quarter Q2 2025 seasonal recovery was unusually weak based on significantly slowing year-over-year growth rates. Buffett appeared to have arrived at the same conclusion, as we now learn that he has sold the rest of his shares. But AJ also shared this chart, where you can see the profit before tax excluding subsidies have decreased by 48.2% year-over-year. Now that's a big drop, to 611 million in Q2. So BYD's financials do not really look very strong, as we have talked about many times before. Also because we have talked about how BYD is one of the automakers that pays its suppliers the latest, but that trend does not seem to be trending down, as payables, so unpaid bills, increased by 12.8% year over year to $32.9 billion. So that is really a double-edged sword, helpful for short-term cash flow, but potentially very risky if not managed carefully. But another thing I just want to add is also that Tesla is on the cusp of solving a true, general solution for full self-driving cars, whereas BYD has only just started on driver assist systems. And they don't just have one solution for it, they are making 3 different solutions for their guard eyes, some with only vision and some with LiDAR depending on the price of the car. So I personally think that BYD is many years out from having a full self-driving system that can actually drive the car everywhere, as we see Tesla is developing and is complicating it even more by making 3 different systems. So as I talked about before, if Tesla comes out with a car that can actually drive itself unsupervised everywhere in China within the next year, BYD will suddenly sit with a production capacity of over 4 million units, but all of those cars will basically be obsolete from the second they leave the production line. So I think the penny might also be dropping that BYD did what the legacy automaker couldn't do, challenge Tesla in the EV space, but BYD's chairman didn't believe in full self-driving technology. In April 2023, he dismissed on-demand driving as impractical and misleading. I said back then that this is a big mistake, and here we are. And they are just starting to realize they need full self-driving technology to survive. So they are now introducing driver assist feature in 2025 as the first step towards this, showing me that they are very far behind on this technology. So BYD does not have all these millions of cars they have built through the last 5 years, sending them data back to the company to train their AI to drive the car, something that set Tesla apart from BYD and everyone else. So I personally don't think BYD is more ready for the next disruption in the auto industry than the legacy automakers are. They are making great EVs, but the era of just making pure EVs is already at the beginning of the end. We still need EVs, but if they can't drive themselves in a couple of years, they will not have much value in the future. So maybe this is also something that Warren Buffett is seeing, that the big growth opportunity for BYD is behind them as they are not a leader in autonomous technology. And that is where the industry is going. So they will not have the advantage going forward. But that is just my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. And we have more delays and backtracking from the legacy automakers. Porsche has announced a significant shift in its electric vehicle strategy, delaying launch of several new battery-powered models and extending the production life of combustion and hybrid vehicles well into the next decade. The decision comes as German automakers grapples with weakening global demand for luxury EVs, escalating US tariffs and mounting competition in China. The Stuttgart-based automaker confirms that the new SUV series, positioned above the Cayenne, originally slated to debut as a fully electric lineup, will instead launch with combustion engine and plug-in hybrid options only. In addition, popular models such as the Panamera and the Cayenne will continue to be offered in both hybrid and traditional powertrain through the 2030s, making a clear rollback from earlier electrification commitments. CEO Oliver Blume, who led both Porsche and Volkswagen, acknowledged the challenges during a joint call with analysts. As he said, "We are seeing massive change within the automotive environment. We have made key strategic decisions. Now it is time to pull them into action. It's going to be a tough and long road, and it will demand our full focus and strong effort." This is not the first time Porsche has adjusted their EV strategy. Last year, the German automaker said it would integrate internal combustion engine and hybrid engines into models initially designed as pure EVs. And Porsche also committed to 80% BEVs by 2030, but all those targets and promises are being shifted. So Porsche continues to shift gears, making it look more and more like they will not be able to make the shift to EVs after all. And you might think that I am exaggerating, but this is something even Porsche CEO Oliver Blume admitted back in April, that the company might stop selling EVs in China in the foreseeable future. As he said, we will see in the next 2 to 3 years whether Porsche exists as an electric brand here. And the first half of 2025 is not making that future look better for Porsche in China, as their total sales were down 28% and their EV sales was down 25%. And in 2024, Xiaomi's SU7 already sold more units in China than the Porsche, even though the SU7 first started production in March 2024. But Xiaomi still sold more cars than Porsche in 2024 in China, even though Xiaomi was 3 months short and was producing their first ever EV. So as Porsche continues to downsize their EV ambitions as the EV market grows, I don't think Porsche will be an EV company in China for much longer. But China will be an EV only market within the next 5 years. So that will mean Porsche will no longer be available in China altogether, the biggest car market on the planet. So let's see if Porsche will just run their ICE business into the sunset and will be one of the great old brands that was not able to make the shift to EVs. And full self-driving continues to impress the Aussies and will no doubt create a lot of demand for Tesla in Australia. And a big hurdle for the legacy automakers, as they has nothing comparable to offer. As you could read in this article from The Driven, Tesla Full Self-Driving Supervised tested a game-changing moment for the future of transport. It's an incredible piece of tech, almost unreal. All up, I put almost 700 kilometers over 5 days with multiple 70+ kilometers trip with zero interventions. I took the car on similar routes to what I would normally do. It handled almost all scenarios without an issue. This included roundabouts, dawns and dusk driving, night driving, rain, roadworks, hook turns, lane merge, median trips, tunnels, freeway on ramps, narrow roads, single carriage bridges, shopping centers, and a whole lot more. It did it all. Having experienced its Tesla Vision system, it's quite clear that the system is capable of seeing quite a lot more than many humans with 20/20 vision would. Driving in the rain and where the sun was glaring through the windscreen didn't stop it. In my experience, Full Self-Driving Supervised today is 99.9% there in the way it handles traffic, road rules, driving behavior of other drivers, and a lot more. Given this is the first version available to the public in Australia, it's only likely to get better. Yes, it's not just likely, it will get better, and we are actually very close of Tesla taking another big leap like it did from version 11 to version 12 with version 14 just around the corner. And just imagine the shock the Europeans are going to have, because we will likely not get approval before version 14 is out and has been tested. So the first true full self-driving version many Europeans will experience will likely be version 14. So coming from just autopilot to full self-driving supervised, version 14 is going to feel like Tesla went straight from level 2 to level 4. Even though it is still just level 2, I know, but it's a level 2 that is more capable than Waymo's level 4 system. I think this is what many people is not really getting, that Tesla's level 2 is better than Waymo's level 4, as Tesla's system can actually now legally drive everywhere in China, the US, New Zealand, and all over the continent of Australia. And as I shown in my other Overflow News show, it has already shown it can actually do that basically without any interventions. And I don't think people understand what this will do to not just the demand for Tesla's car, because people that have already tried it out will not buy another car without full self-driving supervised, but also for the demand for legacy automakers and Chinese automakers EVs, as they will suddenly feel very old school. Like Ryan wrote on X after have been testing full self-driving supervised out in Australia for a few weeks now, you have to be very brand loyal to buy a BMW iX over the new Model Y. Not only are you paying more for less with the iX, which actually is a decent EV if Tesla didn't exist, you are also foregoing full self-driving and meaningful software updates. Seems wild if you ask me. Yes, and even his father, that was a die-hard Mercedes fan, has now bought a Tesla. Yes, I think the widespread of Tesla full self-driving coming with version 14 and people waking up to just how good this software really is and how stress-free driving can actually be will make Tesla's demand shoot up, while demand for other EVs will probably drop off a cliff. But we will see what will happen. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Goldman Sachs analyst Mark Delaney has raised his Tesla price target to $395 from $300, so chasing the stock price. But as he said, if Tesla can have outsized shares in the area such as humanoid robotics and autonomy, then there could be an upside to our price target. Although if competition limits profits, as it happens with ADAS market in China, or Tesla does not execute well, then there could be a downside, the analyst said. So, nice, Captain Obvious. If Tesla does well, there is an upside, and if they don't do well, there is a downside. That is some brilliant analysis right there. And we can see that the Tesla Model Y is on track to become the best-selling EV in Europe in Q3, just as it was in Q2 and in Q1. So of course, year to date, the Model Y is the best-selling EV by far in Europe. It is selling more than 35% more than the runner-up, and that is so far this year the ID.7. But just a little thing about the success of the ID.7 here in Europe, because you might have seen that it has basically flopped in China and most other places, so how can it be doing so well in Europe? Well, more than 50% of its sales of the ID.3 in Europe is just in Germany. As it's basically all other countries in Europe, it is not doing well. Germany and Sweden are the only two places in Europe where the ID.7 is sitting on the top spots. And in Germany, about 60% of all Volkswagen sales is company cars. So the demand for the ID.7 for private users is probably not even that high in Germany either, but it works great as a company car. Whereas Tesla's Model Y is hardly sold as a company car in Europe, but mostly to private persons. So the Model Y is by far the EV most private persons want here in Europe, and is not even close. And Nissan is apparently out saying that their Pro Pilot system will be on par with Tesla's full self-driving system when it's released in 2028. Okay, sure. Where do you get all that data from, Nissan, then? It might be on par with what Tesla has in Europe right now with their autopilot, but it will not be on par with what Tesla will have in 2028. That is for sure. I personally think it's more likely that Nissan will go bankrupt in 2028 than they will have full self-driving technologies that have caught up with Tesla. And Alex shared that the fossil fuel and nuclear industry are lost, and this is only the beginning. Even though coal and natural gas are currently still rising, they cannot compete with the increased low cost of renewable electrification and will therefore decline in importance over the coming decades, bottom out at a low level. This is about economics and geopolitical independence, not ideology. And just look at the rise of solar over the last 5 years, basically shooting straight up. And we still have people that think this doesn't work. If it didn't work, the government and companies would not continue to buy them and putting them up, as we can clearly see they do. This chart shows a disrupting technology that is now the cheapest form of energy generation. And a country that is getting it is Australia, as the state of Victoria becomes the first grid to reach a gigawatt of big battery charging, soaking up half of the rooftop solar. Battery charging reached a peak of 1,049 megawatts, smashing the previous record charging rate of 789 megawatts set earlier in the month. Nice. And Chan shared that Tesla is in the process of large-scale recruitment, currently 88, to produce semi in Sparks, Nevada. You know, the Tesla semi-truck that so many haters are saying is not real and will never be made. Well, yet another surprise are coming the haters' way. And Croc 4 Fast lands as number 2 on the Open Router leaderboard, hitting close to 10 billion tokens a day. Both Croc Code Fast 1 and Croc 4 Fast are at the top, dominating the leaderboard together. Nice, almost looks like the global EV sales leaderboard with the Model 3 and Model Y. And we also have some more XAI news, as XFreeze also shared. XAI Colossal 2 is officially recognized as the world's first giga-scale AI training data center. Next up, XAI aims to be the first to bring 10 gigawatt, 100 gigawatt, and then 1 terawatt of coherent training computer online. Just let that sink in. This is insane, as it is only about a year ago that Microsoft and Google and basically everyone in the industry thought it was impossible to make more than 30,000 GPUs coherent. And now XAI is aiming for millions of GPUs and making them coherent. Just insane. No wonder that Nvidia CEO Jensen said, "This is superhuman. There is only one person in the world who can do that, and that is Elon Musk." And we have people on this planet that want to bet against this man. Well, good luck with that. And Sawyer shared that Tesla is doing some robotaxi validation testing 40 minutes outside of Dallas, Texas, in preparation for future service expansion. And Fassad also shared this and wrote, "Tesla will eventually connect Dallas and Austin with Tesla's robotaxis. That's a 3-hour leg of driving 200 miles. That would be the clearest way to communicate to the public that this is very different from anything else. It will be 50% or less of what Uber would charge. And it will get you to Dallas faster than flying. Driving to the airport, security, boarding, deplanning, getting the car, driving to the destination. And it's an entire private experience. It's like a first-class ticket from door to door for less than half the price of Uber. How awesome is that?" Yes, this is so much more revolutionizing than people think. It's just another robotaxi. No, it is the world's first generalized robotaxi service. Very big different. That is all we have time for in this Overflow News Show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out at some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheets, also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.